Hey guys, hope you're doing well. It's Fran here, and I'm back with the live stream for 26, and the deadline is approaching. So my team, as it stands, really is the exact same thing that I outlined in the team selection. The plan with Jota is the absolute same. I don't think I'm really going to make any more transfers than the three that I have. It seems like the trend over the last 24 hours is that a lot of people have gone for wild cards, which I completely understand. I think people want to make sure that their strategy is circled around maybe avoiding the free hit in 27, making sure that they can actually employ their team and capitalize on the double game weeks of 28 and 29. But I think for the most part, my team is quite strong for those game weeks. I think Rafinha is quite a solid pick that still remains my team. Coutinho will have a double too. I think the only thing that will actually change is that Edouard and Antonio will make way for Saint Maximin and Broja. As far as Jimenez, I'm just not a fan, so I don't think I will be going for Jimenez. I think I'll be still trying to funnel as much money as possible into other areas of the pitch, and maybe I'll be wrong, but we'll see how that goes. There's a lineup in Twitter now about Palace and Edouard doesn't start. I'm not surprised, to be honest, but the game is Chelsea after all. Also, thank you, Henry, so much for being a member for 4 months. Really appreciate the support since the since the start. I believe you were tempted to not triple captain Salah for a while, and it seems like you're going Robbo. So best of luck, my friend. I think yeah, the rumored lineup is that Robbo does start, so we'll see what happens there. Would I play Bowen or Fernandes? I would try as much as possible to play both, to be quite honest. Nuclear Adams. Start Cancelo or Dennis? It's a tough question. I'd probably still start Dennis. Do you guys think I should transfer away my Edouard then? Or do you think I should just put Edouard on bench and maybe play Laporte instead? I still like the chances of Edouard coming on as hopefully a starter versus Watford. But yeah, it's not a great sign. This comment on Lacazette's kind of funny. Although I think so Lacazette kind of plays almost as a decoy at times for this Arsenal team, but I still think he's going to be a great pick. All right, let's have a look at actually some of the chat. Um, Triple Captain Salah or Trent. Sorry, let's go back to the YouTube chat for a quick second. Triple Captain Salah or Trent. I'd probably go for Salah, but this is from my own experiences of going against the Salah captaincy, um, and doing very poorly in the Everton game specifically. I just feel with these games and the chances that Liverpool will overwhelm them, I'm just thinking both Norwich and Leeds, I don't really think they stand much of a chance versus Liverpool. And when it comes down to it, I think it'll be quite high scoring games at Anfield. I really think Liverpool will benefit, and Salah specifically. I think the news that Watkins would be injured or dropped is actually that's a strong possibility because I think it was rumored as well that last week Gerrard was very unhappy with the performances of specific individuals from the Villa team, and Watkins was one of the individuals. VVD or Robbo, you've activated your free hit. I'd probably go Robbo still. Would you play Broja or Bowen? I'd play Bowen. I just think Bowen's form is undeniable. How many hits am I on? Two technically, so I'm on a -8. I agree, Edouard. Yeah. I mean, I've picked him basically for the Watford match. Did the stats improve for Dennis after Sarr came back? I mean, not necessarily no Nuclear Atoms, but I think the main culprit there is really this Watford team hasn't scored many goals, if at all, since Roy Hodgson has come back. Why some people not triple captaining? I think some people are actually wild carding. So FPL Focal is wild carding, I believe, as an example. Some people are also bench boosting. So I think we just saw someone on Twitter who said they would be bench boosting. This is a massive bench boost, by the way. But I also think that he's put some of his better players in the bench for some odd reason. I'm generally not sure how you even get into this lineup. Oh, right, sorry. Oh, sorry, he's done a minus 24. Fair enough. I mean, it looks great. But then having Antonio in your team after a minus 24, question marks in the chat, I would say. That's the only bad pick, I think, for this week, Antonio, really. Because your team will survive after this. What I don't like about doing something like this is, unless you're wildcarding immediately, what can you kind of do out of the situation? Because you're kind of stuck with a very, very lethal bench. And that's a lot of money to put on the bench every week. I'm kind of worried about that. Ultimately, I guess you put White and Sice on the bench going forwards, and probably Dennis too. But it's a weird one. All right, let's quickly just... Do I need Son in my free hit, or should I pick someone else? I don't think Son is necessary for the free hit. Cheeky triple captain Trent. I'll triple captain Trent if we get 11k subs, yeah. Don't tell me you've wildcarded, as a lot of people have. I've not wildcarded. I've already wildcarded earlier in the season. Thank you, Catalina. Do you see City conceding against Spurs? Son has a good record against City, but last year City won 3-0 at the Etihad. I mean, I actually played Son versus City at the start of the season because I thought City, as usual, would trend quite poorly at the start and then actually do well as the season goes on. Judging on current form, I don't think I have. I don't think I have much faith in Son scoring, but there is still the Burnley game, and if you guys remember Son versus Burnley, that's another great matchup. Isaac, I think your message was retracted, so I've missed on that. Should you take a -8 to get rid of Gray? I think if Gray is a starter for you, Jay Wavy, then absolutely, why not? What's the news with Jota? I think he is actually injured, and it seems like he will be gone for 2 weeks. I'd only sell Jota if you don't have a strong enough bench this week, because you might as well sell Jota in the next week. I am using my triple captain. If you guys want to have a nice hard look at a Salah triple captain. Can someone remind me which game week specifically was Everton versus Liverpool? Because that one actually hurt my feels. This game here, terrible game. 1st of December, I captained Trent, thinking, oh, Trent makes a lot of sense. He's been outscoring Salah for the last few weeks. Everton have a really bad set piece defense, and Trent takes corners. What happens? Salah brace. Salah assist. So yeah, I think I'm triple captaining Salah, to be quite honest. You think it was 14? Very, 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 very possible. Oh yes, here it is. Yeah. So 13 points lost on this day. Still trying to recover from that fateful moment, really. All right. Play one of Edouard, King, and Cancelo. I think I'd probably play King potentially, just because it seems like he's going to be nailed for the 2 games, and they're not too bad. Your only dilemma still is start Cancelo or Dennis, because Dennis also gets yellow cards. I mean, that's true, but I would still probably pick Dennis just for the upside of 2 games, and then maybe you could argue that Spurs could score versus City, which kind of caps Cancelo a little bit. You remember that live stream? I mean, it looked great, you know, when we did the live stream. But hi mate from New Zealand, should I take another -12 to take out Fernandes to bring in Saka? Absolutely not, Steve. I believe Fernandes has scored 5 goals and 1 assist versus Leeds, so I wouldn't be taking hits to take out a player who's very likely to actually do well versus Leeds. Hey Leanne, the team you have looks so similar to mine. You have Son for Rafinha based on his history of City. Yep, understand. And Robertson in for Cody. That's awesome. I mean, I don't have enough money in the bank to really afford both of these upgrades, but I can understand going for Son this week. It makes a lot of sense, especially if you don't free hit the next week. I think personally I will be going for Son in the subsequent week. I guess probably because you've taken Jota out already, because if you can see with my team, I haven't taken Jota out. Sorry, if I do take Jota out, I still don't have the money for Son. It has to be someone coming out of the team for Broja. As far as Robertson, that's probably going to be more upside for this week, to be completely honest. So I think that's a great pick. For me, Rafinha, it's a bit of a weird pick where I think I have to keep him because I'm not sure if the -4 for Saka is worth it. And the Jota injury kind of made things worse there. And not to mention, he has a double game week now in 28, which actually is quite appetizing, I would say, owning Rafinha for a while. But all the power to your team. I think Son's going to be a great pick. Hello, Fran. Do I play Cancelo or Rafinha this week? I'd probably actually play Cancelo. I don't think the matches are very good for Rafinha. You think Ronaldo gets rested this week for the Champions League? I think so. He was actually playing in the double this week, which was roughly the same amount of rest. And he was the focal point in both games, and I think he's done well. Do I regret playing my second wildcard early? Actually, not at all, Tim. Not at all. The second wildcard actually changed the tide of my season, if that makes sense. So, sorry, when did I wildcard? I think 21. Yeah, so this wildcard actually was the start of me kind of recovering. So since then, I've done quite well. I mean, the thing originally was that I was planning to bench boost this team here, this 20-point bench boost, and in reality, I kind of missed out on that, and I really should have taken that opportunity to bench boost, which was the whole plan for the wild card. So I would say that was my mistake. I ended up bench boosting last week, and the only addition really was the 10 points on here. So I've lost 10 points in the season from that kind of play. My own fault, of course. I don't think I was in the best state when picking the wild card. So that's what I would actually say. Von Rent, best midfielder under 6.5, Cornet worth it. Yeah, I would agree, Mohammed. Especially because of the double-double. Start 2 of Cancelo, Laporte, Broja, Foden. Probably Cancelo, probably Broja. Do you really think Dennis can score? I think he's been poor, but I'd be happy. I'd be happy to have 4 points from Dennis. And what I'm trying to say now, I think, is when you look at the forwards, there just aren't many great options. So even though it's a fair point to say Dennis might not haul, I'm not sure if I can arguably say other players will not blank. And you kind of have the guarantee that he'll get 3 or 4 points. Not to mention, these matchups aren't too bad for Dennis, really, for him to actually score. I think if Watford eventually are going to score, which they haven't for a while, it should be in these games. So I think Watford have gone for a 4-game streak of not scoring, which is extremely poor. Sa or Ramsdale? Are we talking just for playing this week? I mean, you might even want to consider bench boosting if you have Sa and Ramsdale. But if you really had to make a decision, I'd probably go for Ramsdale. Double on Watford players, clean sheet potential. I'm gonna say not much clean sheet potential, but I think maybe for one game, I'd give it a 35% overall that they get one clean sheet. Best 2 strikers for free hit. Probably Jimenez, unfortunately. I'm not even sure if I would like to actually play 2 strikers on a free hit. Edouard isn't tempting if I was free hitting, and Dennis isn't tempting if I was free hitting. So for me, I would actually probably just go for Jimenez, and then just go for a 4-5-1. 5 midfielders maybe, or 5 defenders, and then 1 striker. Start Cancelo over Royale or Dennis. Definitely start Cancelo over Royale. I might actually just keep Dennis on. De Gea or Foster? I'd play Foster Jangster. Hey Fran, who do I play / bench? Put my team on the Discord, so if you could check it out, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, I can have a look at the team on Discord, but I won't be showing Discord, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I mean, I'd definitely start Tierney. Probably take the chance on Ait Nouri. Cancelo, Trent, 4 of them now. Smith Rowe, Bowen, Salah, I'd probably start them, so that's at least a 4-3. I'd play Weghorst, play Dennis, so that's 2. That's a 4-3-2 right now. I'd probably just start Coutinho as well. Dropping Foden to the bench is a tough choice. I think I'd drop Foden to the bench, and I'd drop Watkins to the back of the bench, and I'd probably put Cucurella second bench. Those are tough decisions, though. But I just think the singles of Bowen and Coutinho are probably a little better than Foden and Cucurella's singles there. I'm just going to quickly go to Twitter for a sec. So with rumors suggesting Edouard and Elise not starting, which of my best bench would you suggest starting? I think Cancelo is the simple answer there. Do I play Elise or Watkins? I'd play Elise because he's got a chance to at least play in the Watford game, right? If you think about rotation and how that kind of pans out. Start with Broja or Antonio. I'm a big fan of Broja myself, so I'm going to say Broja. The Jankster. So thoughts on the transfers? Kind of confused. Yeah, understand. Cancelo's great. Laporte, I feel bad to put him on bench. Maybe I'll live to regret it once again. But Cody, Trent, Cancelo at least starting. I would say if you've got a Trent, I think Jota's got to go for your team just because you're kind of strapped for cash. Coutinho, Bowen, Salah start. King I'd probably start. So off the back of that, I'd be happy to start 3 players in the back line as a bare minimum. 4 players in the middle, and then 1 player up top. Antonio, we can think about him for a sec. I think you probably take Jota out of your team. Actually, sorry, are you free hitting in 27? So I'd probably start Foster, actually. As far as the rest of your team, I think transferring into Saka makes sense. I think arguably you could also go into... You could take... What is your... Because it seems like you don't have a free transfer anymore, so I'd probably ask what that is. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a -12, but one thing I'm thinking about is probably Son, Broja, and Tierney, if that's possible. I would actually try and gamble for another Arsenal player in your team. And since you don't have coverage over Ramsdale, I would say go for Tierney potentially. You could also go De Gea into Ramsdale, which doesn't seem that interesting because you've already got Foster with a double. Right, you've used the free transfer to get Salah in. No, that's fair enough. Maybe a simple transfer of Jota to Saka makes sense, and then another Arsenal defender if you want. If you don't plan on free hitting in 27, then I think you should highly consider a Ramsdale transfer. Yes, it's a -4, and yes, you've got Foster on your bench, but I think the positives of that is that Ramsdale has very, very great games for the end of the season. Very, very good double fixtures, which when I compare to Foster, I think he doesn't have a super high ceiling. Are we really saying that Watford are going to keep a double clean sheet? Highly not. Whereas I think Arsenal actually have a considerably strong chance of doing that. So I think that could be a possibility if you don't want to deal with the idea of having 2 Arsenal and 2 Liverpool in the next week and having to transfer them out again. So that's a possibility. But let me know what your plans are, really. This seems to be your free hit draft. Bowen, Son, Salah, Fernandes, Saka. I mean, that's a monster team. I'd be very happy with that. I know you're not sure about Fernandes, but I've been kind of saying to other people, for me in my situation, I feel like I'm restricted to moving Fernandes for Salah. It just makes too much sense for me. But for people who can actually afford Fernandes, and obviously if you're free hitting, you can. I think this is a lovely team. Because I'm trying to think about who are the other interesting prospects in this game week, and it would really be the singles of Man City. But I think it's worth avoiding. And yeah, this team looks great. Happy with it. Abdullah, bench anyone? Oof. Probably not actually. I'd maybe keep it the same. I'd say potentially Edouard for Cancelo. Otherwise, I'd say you probably keep the team the same. Jack Tatum, best XI. Yeah, I think that is your best XI. Brandon, any suggestions on who to buy / sell? Currently looking at Jota to Raf / Zaha / Cornet. I mean, if you're free hitting in 27, then I would probably say Zaha is quite interesting. Or you could also go Rafinha, though, because Rafinha will have another double very shortly. So maybe Rafinha makes a little bit more sense for the short-term kind of overall cohesiveness of your team. So maybe that's quite nice, I would say. But really, if you are free hitting for 27, I mean, let's be real here. I think getting a third Arsenal player isn't a problem, right? Because you're going to free hit in 27 anyways. I think Saka is still someone you should potentially consider playing. I would also maybe even play Davies over Dean. That's my personal opinion. Maybe you disagree. But I think the clean sheet chances versus Burnley are quite high. So I'd take out Elise personally because I think Edouard has decent chances of scoring versus Watford. I'm rolling out like this. You're really worried about this week, so a few doublers. Well, I mean, you've left a double on your bench, but for the most part, I'd say I'd be concerned about Watkins. I'd definitely play Davies over Watkins, because of the bench possibility. For the rest of your team, I think I'm happy with it. Keep in mind you've also got Pope as well, so I think yeah, the dividends are quite good for you for the next week as well. I wouldn't be too worried, Jerome. Maybe even a Wolves player if you want. This team good for this game week. Start Madison or Dalot. It's an interesting question. I'd probably, honestly, would you not just start João Pedro? I mean, why not kind of just risk it for the Crystal Palace game or the Villa game? Hoping, I mean, because I don't think we've seen a great defense from Villa so far, and it's not like they've got much depth there to actually change that defense around. So I feel like if you take the double Watford, you're confirming yourself at least 4 points. Because what I would say here is that with the Watkins bench possibility, that's highly likely that's a blank or even 1 point. With Dalot and Madison, I'd say they've got a chance of blanking as well because Wolves have a great defense. And when you look at Dalot on the other hand, for some odd reason, this Man United Leeds matchup is either, I mean, it was a 0-0 last year, which I think maybe that's why some people are interested in a United defender for this week. But I'd be more tempted to just kind of chance it with João Pedro and hope he actually does something for once in his Premier League career, at least for the last few weeks. So I guess the risk though is that João Pedro hasn't been starting games for Watford. I'd probably pick Dalot then. Fine, yeah. Triple captain Salah. Same with me. Less Liverpool players though, unfortunately. But let's quickly just go back to the YouTube chat. Willoughby, yep, so I am checking Twitter DMs today. Leanne says her bench is Foster, Coutinho, Cody, and Broja. That's a very strong bench. What keeper are you playing? Do you have Ramsdale, I guess, starting? Coutinho, Cody on the bench today? I'd probably reconsider that one. Hope if you can. I just think Cody on a double, not really worth missing out. Even a bench boost I would consider. Sorry, Sa or Ramsdale to buy for future game weeks too. You have Sanchez as well. I'd probably go for Sa. Sa has two impending doubles, and the doubles are slightly nicer than Arsenal's doubles, and Sa's not a bad option. This is and this also maybe allows you to get an Arsenal defender to kind of leverage off of that. Start Lamptey or Laporte. I'd probably start Laporte. You've only got 5 doubles to save the wildcard. People wildcarding. Red arrow incoming, sadly. Yeah, I understand that. I mean, people wildcarding, I don't think is going to be a huge problem. The reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of people seem to be going very deep into Wolves for the wildcard, and I don't think Wolves have the greatest upside. They're probably actually going to do a little bit better than us when Wolves actually have their double again. Thanks, Captain Marbles. Appreciate you. Wolfgang, should we be keeping Ronaldo? Yeah, I think so. Your plan is -8, right? Yes, it's -8, but not Jimenez in. I'm not really that interested in Jimenez. Tim Nasdell. You're forever grateful I encouraged you to BB in 11. You got 30 points. That's awesome, Tim. Really happy for you there. A lot better than mine, 3 times better than mine, in fact. Is Cucurella not a good differential? I feel like he'll have a less than 10% ownership. If he doesn't get a clean sheet, it's not worth though, right? Yeah, that's kind of my assessment as well. I think he's a decent differential, but ultimately you're saying you're comparing him versus a lot of people who will be playing this week who have doubles. So in a single, yes, if he gets a clean sheet, then it's great, but I don't think it's a 100% lock. At least Bowen or Ronaldo to start. I would try and get Bowen and Ronaldo to start in your team. TC Salah with 7 on double game week, or use free hit and have everyone on double game week. I'd TC Salah with 7. Because your free hit could be used for another double, where maybe your team isn't in such a good position, and your triple captain isn't in such a good position. Son in for Bruno this week or next week. I'd probably go next week. I think Bruno versus Leeds is great. Did -12, but have no Arsenal def. So De Gea to Ramsdale for 6. Yeah, I think that's worth it. Actually, De Gea for I think De Gea for Ramsdale is in general a much better transfer. Would you put in Ramsdale for a -4 starting over De Gea? I mean, Harry, you've asked the same question. 100% agree. I think I've done that exact move. So Ramsdale, this is the first time this season I've owned Ramsdale. I'm surprised he. I mean, he's been slapping me every week. So bench one out of these three: Bowen, Cancelo, and Tierney. I'd bench I'd bench Cancelo probably, just because I think Bowen's undeniable. I don't know. He's been in red hot form. Transfer Van Dijk or Robertson. Maybe Van Dijk is a little bit nicer, just so you can manage your budget. You think you asked this already, but start Cucurella or Antonio. I'd start Cucurella. I mean, Antonio might score, but I feel like from what I've been watching football-wise, I can't justify that. Start King or Barnes. I'd start King. You've already taken a -8. Should you take another hit to do Watkins to Broja / Jimenez? I think Jimenez is the one, since he has double this week, if you're going to do another -4. It's snowing near Liverpool. I mean, hopefully that game plays. That's all I'm going to say. Weghorst or Jimenez? Weghorst or Jimenez? Good question. I'd probably say Jimenez, actually, just because of the Wolves already having a double confirmed. And then Weghorst with the injury, questionable as well. Pick two to start: Foden, Mopé, Keane, Watkins. I'd start Foden. I'd probably start Mopé as well, actually. Kilman or Cody? Cannot afford Sice. I'd probably go Cody. Should I take Foden out and bring in Saka? Probably not. Probably not. It depends if you're free hitting, though. Edouard is benched. Some news on Edouard benched on Twitter. Yep. I mean, what do I do about Edouard, though? Honestly, I don't think I have any particular ideas. Because the problem with my team is, ideally, I'd like to get towards this sort of setup. Wow. Okay, I could actually afford this. That's interesting. Do I maybe just go for a straight transfer to Jimenez this week? I mean, it almost makes too much sense because the double in Crystal Palace is very good. Oof. Let me try something as well. Son. So we go Broja. Can I afford St. Maximin? See, this is the one problem I have with this team. I really think St. Maximin's a great option when he has the double-double. Like this double for St. Maximin, I think is quite monstrous, and I feel like people haven't been talking about St. Maximin enough. And if I go Chris Wood, can't afford him either. ASM's out. Long-term injury, or what's the deal there? Oh, you just got injured. Sorry. Oh, that's fair enough. That's fine then. Is it supposed to be a long-term injury? Like, does he not recover? Does he not recover by 28? I'm not bringing him in this week. I'm just thinking by 10th of March. So we still got 20 days. 2 to 3 weeks. Fair enough. Well, I'm thinking, as I said, in 20 days, if he recovers by 28, he's an okay option, right? I guess it's the question if he makes this Brighton game. Bench boost with De Gea, Cancelo, Laporte, and Broja. I mean, it's not the highest ceiling, but I think it's a strong bench boost. Bench 3, Foden, Cancelo, Laporte, Dean, Edouard, Dennis. Probably bench Dean. Probably bench Laporte. I'd try and play maybe Foden, Cancelo, and Dennis. De Gea to Ramsdale. I prefer De Gea to Ramsdale, but if you have Foster, I think that's a decent option. I guess I have to go Jimenez, right? What do you guys think? Or do I just play Laporte? Yeah, I feel like Jimenez is almost a waste of money for this week. I'd probably still just play Edouard, hoping that he plays versus Watford. Because what were the chances really that we expected that Edouard would score versus Chelsea? Probably not very high. I'm hoping he gets 1 point, maybe becomes a super sub. Yeah, Jerome. The thing is with Jimenez, it's a tough one because I feel like Jimenez is nice because there are not three good forwards in FPL. So yeah, would you rather play Laporte or Edouard? Tough. That's a tough decision. I guess I'm gonna stick with Edouard. I don't know why I'm knee jerking, so let's just keep it that way. Um, let's go back to Twitter for a quick second. Nice wild card there. Is this a wild card? This doesn't seem like a wild card. I'm a little confused though. Um, so I think if I was owning this team, oof, I'd probably sell maybe Coutinho for Ramsey, and then I'd space out my funds. Yeah, I think when people are discussing wild cards, I would say, and maybe missing out on a wild card this week, I would say the kind of priority picks really come from Wolves and Spurs. You know, being able to kind of sort your team. But I don't think Spurs and Wolves are necessary this week. I think a Wolves defender is somewhat quintessential. But I would say for Son, I feel like the ceiling is a little bit low because it really almost looks like a single game week versus Burnley plus 2 points. That's my opinion, but there's that. I'm just gonna stick with the Broya plan for the next week, and I'll probably bring in Jimenez sometime in the future. That is a wall of text. Absolutely, it is a wall of text, but it has been read. Um, is this side worth the wild card? No. I mean, sorry. What is the original team? Yeah, I'd wild card because that player actually has a couple issues in the team. Now, first of all, it gives you a good opportunity to go out of Edouard. It takes great opportunity to go out of Jota, Dallo, Webster, De Gea. So that's four transfers at least. Mopay five, um, Watkins six, Rudiger seven. Yeah, I mean you can make seven transfers out. Hey mate, hope you're well. Just wondering your thoughts on my team and whether you would change anything. Coutinho bench, interesting. Hopefully that doesn't bite you. I'd bench Foden over Cancelo most weeks, especially in a week like this for Spurs, where I still think Spurs will try and park the bus, and maybe the ceiling for City isn't going to be that high goal wise, and we know Cancelo anyways can contribute attacking. Wanting to get in Salah, what should I do? It's a tough one actually because you can't just do a straight transfer, can you? Um, hmm. I'd say Watkins in a premium out. What would you do here? Would you take? I would take De Bruyne out. I'd take De Bruyne out for me. This player can. It's so unfortunate because he's 0.1 off squeezing Jimenez and Salah in for De Bruyne and Watkins. But I guess you just take what? You just take another -4. I'm also thinking, have you already done it? The transfers? I would consider Salah, Jimenez, Ramsdale, because how much is Ramsdale in terms of price? Yeah, 5.1. So you actually could have got a cost saving there and maybe just gone for that. That would have been quite interesting. I'm still kind of stuck on what to do with Edouard, but I feel like I keep him because I'm not sure if Jimenez is worth the -4. And then if we move on over to Laporte, I guess the gamble is Edouard versus Watford versus Laporte and Tottenham at the Etihad. Play Soufal or Dallo? I'd probably play Dallo. You have Cancelo and King dilemma, although Cancelo's highly owned. I think Tottenham is really not that scary right now. Yeah, Jerome, I agree. I think I was probably just FOMOing a little bit because Jimenez makes a lot of sense in 28. Could you rank these players, please? Ramsey, Broja, Foden, Laporte, Dennis. Yeah, sure. I'd probably go Broja. Then I'd probably go Dennis. Then I'd probably go Foden. Then Laporte. Then Ramsey. Tough decision, but yeah, you could do Edouard to Weghorst -2 doubles in a row, so it's safer than Edouard. That's a good point though. But is Weghorst actually confirmed to be fit? Transferring out Jota, Diaz, and Cancelo for Mane, Tierney, and Gabriel. No, that's totally fine if those are not long-term transfers. Are you planning on wildcarding soon? Kane or Ronaldo to start? I'd probably go Ronaldo. But manager said himself. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Do a -4 for Weghorst though? Kind of need to actually see what my team would be like in the next week as well. Just have a think about it. Yep. Okay. So I play all my City players next week. I don't play Cody. Yeah, I don't think I play Cody next week. Obviously, Arsenal and Liverpool all miss out, so I'd have to play Cody. I would have Son and Broja replacing one of these players. But I guess Edouard just isn't interesting the next week either. So yeah, that's a very fair point. Dennis doesn't have a great matchup. Edouard actually has a nice matchup, but highly likely that he doesn't play either. And then you kind of want to get him out for 28, 29 anyways. Maybe he streaks here, but that's way too far for us to even care about. Antonio, not the best matchup next week. But so Son and Bro, you have to come in. Maybe Weghorst does make sense then. Yeah, say Maximin is injured. Like I said, he should be okay. Interesting. They had to Ramsdale for -16. Yeah, I think that's worth it. 99% will play in his 4 games over 2 weeks rather than as opposed to Edouard, who's 3 minutes risk. Agree. Son and Broja or Jimenez and Rafinha. I'd like Son and Broja personally. Currently have Cancelo and Bowen starting. Can do one of both to these. I wouldn't transfer. Yeah, okay, actually, sorry. Reguilon to Van Dijk, fair enough. Martinelli to Saka. I'd say Reguilon and Van Dijk are interesting, just because Liverpool will have a future double too when they face Arsenal, and I'd prefer having another Liverpool player there than another Arsenal player. You'd say leave it, Henry? Yeah. I think I might leave it this week. Tough decision though. Brighton, Tottenham. Yeah, I just feel like the ceiling is so low though for Burnley. I think I just keep my team as it is. I should get rid of Dennis for Jimenez. I mean, I'd rather get rid of Edouard this week for Jimenez if I was going to do that. Whom do you think I should bench out of Edouard, King, and Emerson Royale? Probably Edouard. Start Cucurella and Broya, or take a -8 to go from Madison, Watkins to Son, Rodriguez, and start them. I wouldn't move out of too many City players, because what we've seen so far for the season is that their single game weeks are as valuable as some doubles. Which two to start? Weghorst, Watkins, and King. Probably Weghorst and King. I'd start Cucurella and Broya, personally. Triple captain is good this game week. Yep. I would say this week it's too sensible. I think it makes sense. Play Dean over Dennis the Menace. Yeah, he hasn't been very menacing lately, has he? I'd probably still play Dennis actually. Play 2 Cancelo, Dean, Watkins, Ramsey, Dallo. I'd probably play Cancelo, and I'd probably play Dean or Ramsey or Dallo. It's a tough one. I'd probably play Cancelo, and then maybe take a chance on Ramsey. They were rumored Bone might be one of the knocked players Moyes was talking about. If so, Laporte gets auto-subbed anyways. That's okay. I mean, I'll be happy with that. Do you think wildcarding this week will be better than triple captain? More points, less say. I think... I don't think wildcard is better than triple captain if you take no hits. But the truth is, a lot of people triple captaining will be taking hits. So that's what actually will help probably wildcarders win this week. Play Dallo or Cancelo? I'd play Cancelo for sure. Can't decide start Bone or Cancelo. I'd start Cancelo then. Play 2 out of... I mean, that's a tough one. Sorry, Ludwig. Sorry, I actually have been thinking about that myself. But I'd try my hardest to start both. Edouard, I don't think he starts this week. He probably starts the next week. Play 2 out of... Tough decisions there, Sloan. I think Dennis and Coutinho are nice. Because I imagine you already have Cancelo. So that's my decision making, I think. Sell Dallo or Lamptey. Yeah, I can try quickly reply through some Twitter DMs. Bench order is okay. Looks fine, but I'd put Bernardo over just because Watkins has a threat of being benched. -8 for Robertson or Tierney plus Saka, and who to replace? I have Reguilon or Dawson plus Jota. Hey Fran, want to move into Salah and triple captain him. Any other transfers have 2 free transfers. Okay, sure. I'm not exactly sure your budget situation, but that's the play I'd make. So this is a weird one because I feel like this player could benefit from 3 transfers. Maybe Jimenez is a slight better priority than Broya this week. And then you just you go out of Salah, you go out to Reguilon, I think. Sorry, I mean De Bruyne. So I think you go out of De Bruyne to Salah. You probably have to save funds from Jota, and you probably or Calvert-Lewin, and then you also move out of Reguilon too. I think that makes sense. You could also go for Ramsdale. That's another possibility too. Just because you don't actually have a good sub keeper, Ramsdale has a double. He doesn't affect whether you free hit in 27. So for me, Ramsdale saves you 0.2, right? So you have 0.5, so you have 0.7 left. Still can't afford the De Bruyne to Salah swap immediately, so you just downgrade one of, I guess, Jota, Reguilon, and then maybe you just play Calvert-Lewin potentially this week. Even Reguilon, I don't know if you owned Reguilon when he was because he's 5.3 now. So maybe if you get out of Reguilon, that's still 0.9 though, isn't it? So you can't go straight out of KDB like that. Probably just means that Jota has to go. I think you'd be happy with going Ramsdale, Saka, and Salah, maybe. And you can keep Reguilon if you want. I'm not a huge fan, but if you want to avoid hits, you could also go for a -8 since you have, and then just take Reguilon out for Tierney as well. But that does give you to Liverpool to Arsenal, so that's a little bit of a different situation. Is the order fine? Yep, agree. I mean, it's pretty much the same order I would have had. Any last second suggestions? Maybe I wouldn't go Matip if I was wildcarding. TC Salah bench boosts. Ugh. I might bench boost that, actually. Genuinely, I might bench boost that. Sorry, guys, I missed the message requests today, but I hope everyone's locked in their transfers. That's absolutely necessary now. Is Tierney worth a -4? For me, yes, if he doesn't really affect your 27 plans. Save your squads, absolutely save your squads. Yeah, this is what I'm going with this week. We'll see what happens. I think this is a great team, actually. How'd you guys kind of finalize your teams? I guess hopefully, as long as Jimenez doesn't really bang too hard, then I think I'm quite happy with the layout of my team. Hopefully Laporte, I don't know, doesn't score a brace and keep a clean sheet, or someone actually comes out of the team for him. That would have been another consideration there. Tough game week though. Tough game week. Good luck, everyone. Yeah. What are your weekend plans, everyone? You went to Cuckoo and bench Antonio 1 minute before the line, expecting an Antonio masterclass hat trick right now. Yeah, let's kind of hope that doesn't happen because he's pretty deep in my bench too. I just ended up playing Watkins, Fran. Yeah, you no confidence in Spurs at all this week. You don't think it's worth playing Davies. Fair enough, Jerome. Fair enough. Robbo benched? How do we know that? We won't get a real confirmation until 30 minutes later, no? Tough choices for sure. I'm pretty much banking entirely on Edouard versus Watford. There's news that Robbo's benched. I love life. I love life. I kind of agree with this tweet. It's kind of true. So many people wildcarded in the end. Interesting. Hmm. Is this a wild card I'd actually really love? No city players, I just feel like is the trap of the wild card. I think even next week when everyone's considering Son as a captain, everyone's forgetting about Sterling, who is going to absolutely be on my mind when I transfer out someone for Broya. Jimenez as well. I'm hoping he blanks. Lacazette. I mean, he spent most of the season blanking. Let's be honest. Getting Broya and Ramsey on the wild card is very nice because it does kind of help your team structure out. But this season too, I feel like the midfielders are so good. You almost want to have those 5 midfielders. It's a weird one. It's a weird one. I feel like everyone has the same wild card. Is this not the exact same wild card? Right. The only difference being this guy goes Foster. But that is pretty much the same wild card. Look how homogenous the template is. Actually so strong for the wild card. But I'm really worried about that. I just feel like you're missing out on city players. It's a weird one. Yeah, I feel like people are just forgetting about city players. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Ben. That was a good tweet for sure, Omar. You're right. Triple captain for this game week. Yes, Mohammed. Leanne. Yeah, I'll definitely do a watch along sometime soon. Unfortunately, I've got to run for a while, so I'll probably think about it maybe sometime next week. Super tough game week. You've had to take an extra unexpected hit for Weghorst following the Watkins news. Yeah, understand that. I feel like I've probably gone away from that just because yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with my team. I've already taken enough hits, and I feel like the ceiling for the other forwards who had doubles this week aren't super high. The people who wildcarded into one Wolves defender, an Arsenal defender, and one or more Wolves or Arsenal attackers, it's mad. I think so, Jerome, because the thing is, when Arsenal have a double, like they're playing Liverpool, so that's pretty much a blank attack wise. Laka the most underperforming of the last game weeks. I agree, and the thing is, as I say, like Lacazette's role in the team is pretty much as a decoy. So expecting that he's gonna bang is a weird one. So apparently the source, Let's Talk SPL, is getting that Trent and Robbo are both rested against Norwich. Surely fake. Whew. Am I going to the FPL meeting? Is it today actually? No, I feel like I think I'm probably gonna spend some time with my fiance. So yeah. Oh man, if Laporte hauls Travis, I'm in big trouble. So yeah. The one thing about Trent is that I think clearly they don't have a very like the downgrade between Robbo and Simicas isn't as huge as Trent and anyone else who can play right back for Liverpool. Milner and Simicas. I mean, Milner's that's gonna be hard to watch, but yeah. Did I triple captain? Yes, I did triple captain Salah. All right, Ben Krellin's wild carding. Yep. Everyone literally has the same team as a result of the wild card. Although he did go for Bednarek, which is interesting. Not really sure I would bank on Southampton getting bench boosts. I mean, sorry, like a good kind of clean sheet off of a double game week. Triple Arsenal defense, double Wolves defense, Salah and Mane double up. Ooh, that's a pretty. See, this is a pretty creative wild card. A double Southampton forward line. Everyone switched to Van Dijk in the end. But that literally is the same team that we've seen over and over. So I don't know if people have been kind of copying Andy's wild card or something like that, but tough one there for sure. Oof, interesting. Gomez right back, surely. Is Gomez actually? I mean, Gomez has barely played. No, Fran. I think it's silly to have both Arsenal and Wolves with such a high investment in that they. Yeah, I agree with you, Jerome. That's probably going to be a low variance matchup. And not only that, but just as I said, like Arsenal's future double is quite weak. Your triple captain glitched off. How do you know it's glitched off? The FPL hasn't loaded, has it? You benched Laporte last second too, since you have Cancelo, bench of Sanchez, Kane, Dean, Laporte, and went with TC over BB. Yeah, I think it makes sense, Sloan. Think of them as value boost to your squad. Yeah, I mean, a future bench boost is still on the cards for you. In terms of City, Leanne says she has her eye on Sterling and can swap Son for him. I agree. I agree. I think the one interesting thing about Son is that he has that double versus Brighton, right? Someone missed the deadline. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I took 8, like -8 for a hit, so quite the expense. At the expense of triple cap Salah, that's so weird. Because what happened was I had 5 minutes and inactivated in order to wildcard, but when I wildcarded with 1 minute left, it made me back out. Wait, what? All right, good luck, Sloan. Thank you very much. Have a lovely weekend. Same to you guys as well. I think we'll maybe I'll probably skip waiting for the lineups and just kind of let fate come for me. You know, whatever happens. But we'll see. Hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. Lots more weeks of planning, and I think the priority for me is still going for players like Broya and Sun next week. Nothing else really more to save there. Unfortunately, I still feel like it's worth missing these Burnley players. Maybe something by watching them this week will convince me otherwise, but we'll see what happens then. Take care, guys, and I'll see you guys very shortly.